Morning to one and all present here. I, Dipti Ameta, on behalf of Vidush Somani Institute of Technology and Research, welcome you all to this technical event of online lecture series, Tech with Night 2021, organized by VSITR. So commencing with our first session of today, I'd like to briefly introduce you with our today's expert, Mr. Nilesh Vaghela, sir. We welcome you, sir.
Thank
So
you very much.
students, I'm briefing you about sir. Sir, you're electronics engineer with more than 20 years of experience in open source and cloud technologies. You have conducted more than 500 training sessions, workshops, and seminars in India as well as abroad. So, you, along with your team, provide enterprise AWS cloud solutions, design, delivery, and support, Red Hat Linux training, solution, and support. You have started AWS Meetup community for the first time in Ahmedabad in 2014. You have been also awarded as AWS Community Hero and have served to many universities and commercial organizations as an expert. So, we feel pleasure in inviting you to motivate our students and enlighten them with current trends in technology. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much for nice introduction. So my topic is, one of my favorite one is called open source technologies. So I started practicing open source almost, in 1998, where at that time very few people know what is open source. We need to literally convince people like what is open source, why it is benefit, what is a good part of this, why enterprise should go for this. So at that time we started this, I started open source technology, and I remember like we had a huge community in as a name of VGLUG, Vibrant Gujarat, Vibrant the GNU Linux user group. So at that time we have 1500 members, and we used to conduct a lot of I'm talking about around 2004 2005, a lot of seminars, workshop across Gujarat basically, and even we have delivered some workshop as a community group across the India also. Uh, so open source is like considered to be, I consider it as my DNA, and my overall company built will be on open source environment and open source technologies. So we used to provide our solutions at Electromac with open source technology, and most of the time, until unless required, we don't use proprietary softwares or tools. So most of the time, like if very specific, some Windows technology, proprietary technology have some issues in Linux, so I'm using Linux desktop. So there may be some issues, small issues could be, but I'm using Team now available on Linux also. So I'm using Team on Linux as of now. Let's start, with this. So not just just delivering thing. I also would like if some answer somebody can provide. Somebody can provide, some probably some answer, some response on chat. That is fine. Small things, right? Or maybe you can, yeah, on chat only. Let's see. So with starting with what we do actually in daily activities, we share a lot of things, right? So we share like text, we share videos, we share audio, we share even sometimes code also, we share images, photographs, we sometimes share kind of pictures, drawings or something. We even sometimes share formulas. We have a different platform to share, like text. We have Wikipedia. You can like upload your content, and maybe whatever you can slightly modify those things. Video, YouTube, you can share YouTube also, your videos and contents on YouTube. Code, you have a GitHub or any other platform that you can share your code. Images, yes, you can share a lot of images on Facebook or other platform, WhatsApp, and a lot of platforms. So generally, in our nature, we would like to share benefit of either ourselves or for the community or for the society, or by somehow like we love to share. So that is our human nature. So what we share, like probably in Facebook we used to share social media content. There are other platform also, but primarily Facebook. So we used to share our own information, or we like something, we share there. This happened, that happened, and this is good, this is bad. Something we actually probably echo our emotions, or our likings or disliking there. LinkedIn is a technical content, so you actually express your technical part of yours, and you might be good in some technical blog or something. LinkedIn is a platform where you can showcase your technical capabilities or blogs, or try to find out some job or work or whatever connects to the technical people, professional people. GitHub, as I already told you, like code, you can share. Example is GitHub. You can share. There are a lot of platform, but this is the most popular one. So if you want to share your code, GitHub is one of the platform. You can download, publicly shared code, and you can use as it is. There is no user guarantee or warranty. So then we have Wikipedia, that you can share the information. You can create information, or whatever your best knowledge you can update. There are other platform also. YouTube, you obviously everybody know, you can say share video contents, either public channel, private channel, depends on your liking. A Google Map, generally we share our GPS location. Somebody is not finding our home or something, you can send the GPS location. We are there, or you sometimes you provide public, publicly kind of views of yours of GPS, that particular GPS location you visited. WhatsApp, almost you can share a lot of things, video, audio, but within small group of people. And obviously you can write your own blogs, WordPress or Medium or somewhere else, whatever you wanted to write. So these are the content generally as our we share actually the things. So let's talk about the code. Do we share code? So it is slightly probably debatable topic. Somebody wanted to share, somebody don't want. You can share your code with the friends as far as you're concerned if you are in college. But what about like you have written, something basically which is very good, and you want like kind of you wanted to make money. So it's slightly difficult. Well, probably you can share your code or not. It's always going to be difficult. So do we everybody share code? If I written and some nice application or tool, probably yes or no, both the things. So why we share a code, or why we need to do that? So that is a concept comes open source, right? So whenever like open source concept started, people thought this is kind of a odd concept, and they weren't, it was not accepted. So it was like very typical things. People have not liked it. But then what happened? slowly, sorry, 1 minute. Then like the concept has given a proper structure. So with the proper structure, it has gone like it's started as open source movement, and probably this is one of the most important thing today as a open source. So let's try to understand. So it's human nature to share and collaborate the things to our own liking or disliking, whatever. So as a human, we actually share a lot of things, and we don't share also a lot of things, right? But let's talk about what is open source, and why it is very important nowadays as a student, not even as enterprise, but as a student, why it is important. So let's try to understand. So open source. So open source is basically not just somebody has started in a fluke. It is started very robust actually There are some people, concept in the mind. There are some thought process. It is legalized and a lot of things. So anybody can give their view. If you know something about open source, probably in chat you can type. I hope chatting is allowed there.
Yes, sir. Students will be asking their questions and queries through the chat box. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So probably I love if somebody can give some information about open source. If you whatever you know, 1 or 2 line probably, or even 1 or 2 word also fine. Open source is very popular nowadays. You might have heard a lot of things about open source. Maybe some of the things I'm sharing also you might know. Few things, not all. So can anyone share some their thoughts about open source? What is open source, let's say, or why it is important, or what do you mean by open source? Anything? I would love to have some response. Or maybe I'll wait for 15 seconds. If we'll get some response, then fine. Otherwise, we'll go ahead. Yeah, so one response is Firefox, correct? So Firefox is a well-known browser, basically, a web browser. And everybody know today people are using Chrome. Even Chrome is also open source, but Firefox is also open source. And yes, it is one of the open source software tools we are using. Yeah, one very good answer is free to use. Agreed. So I'll come to that. What is free? Oracle. Oracle is proprietary, so I don't consider as Oracle as a open source. They have some tools or software as open source, but not all. Example like Oracle Virtual Machine is open source. Oracle Linux is open source, but otherwise Oracle most of the product are not open source, and Oracle is not very popular in open source domain. One answer like response is available for everybody and free to use. So that is also perfect, very good answer or very good response. And modify, yes. So these are the almost perfect answer or perfect response. GIMP, yes, it's a graphical, basically image manipulation package. So GIMP, source code publicly available, one responses, and we can modify. Yes, absolutely correct. Kubernetes is open source, agreed. Python is open source, agreed. So Blender, yeah, those who are into graphic designing, they wanted to use some Maya or something. So Blender is, yes, one of the wonderful open source graphic designer, not graphic but 3D studio kind of software utility. Apache, wow. So we got very good response actually. So that means you have a very good idea about uh, open source. Apart from one response, probably Oracle have certain open source product, but Oracle database or Oracle related products are not open source. So let's continue now. So I agreed, a lot of response. Thank you very much for your response, and from that I can understand Google is known for open source support, but Google is slightly vague answer. Google Summer Code, yes, we can use without license. So that is we'll discuss is why without license is not right thing, but we'll discuss is why we consider that product in under open source can be used without license. So we'll try to understand that part also. But yes, I think good response. Let's go ahead. So perfect. So open source is source code is free. So you have to be very sure. My source code is free actually, not actually binary. So probably let me explain what is the difference between uh, binary and source code. So probably you might have some exposure to at least everybody, whether you are studying in first year or last year. So you might have some exposure to Turbo C. So what we do is we write a program in language, then we need to compile. So there are three processes: write a program, compile it. So once you compile, that code is considered as a converting into the binary, and then you have to run that binary. The output file you have to run as a binary. So binary can be chargeable. Source code is free. So always going to be source code is going to be free. Not it might happen like depends on the totally depends on the company, the license of open source what we use. It can be software can be a free or can be a chargeable. It is not like that. You cannot charge. You cannot charge for the your product. But yes, one of the most important part is source code. Source code is always going to be free in open source. Maybe ready-made product, maybe support, maybe service. The services are chargeable. So make sure open source free has a different meaning, not as a free of cost. Yes, free of cost is there, but it is for the source code, right? So source code is free. And many times like some of the languages like Python, Node, Ruby, Perl, all these languages are scripting languages. So they don't require compilation. So my source code is itself mostly, I'm supposed to run. So I don't need to build or compile that at all. Mostly, there are some compilation tool there, but mostly we don't compile for PHP, Python, Node, all this part. Where Java, .NET, all we need to compile. So software can be chargeable, service can be chargeable. Software source code is kind of free. Now let me explain. I have not given over here what is free. So let me free means what, that I need to explain, because that is a myth. Actually, a lot of people probably have that myth. So I'll say free have a two meaning over here. So I'll remove all this thing. Free source code is free, and free equal to freedom. Okay, so this is a freedom basically. It's not free of cost. It is not equal to free of cost. Maybe I can say not equal to. This is better, right? Or maybe better symbolic is something like this and this, not equal to freedom, free of cost. Okay, so this is open source, very good fundamental. When initially I started also, I also learned like open source means free, but that is not there. It is not always to be there when it is written, right? We'll come to that. Even who say like open source free means freedom, and source code is only free, right? So that is always there. So but first understanding is free means freedom for accessing the source code, and most of the time vendor lock-in. So you are supposed to pay for the service mostly. So whenever you want, you are not mostly paying for the product. So whenever you want, you can switch over. So that is called freedom. Freedom of choice. Actually, you wanted to buy anything, it's up to you what you wanted to buy, depends on your freedom. So that is free means freedom. Free is not equal to free of cost. So that obviously you need to understand very well, and from where we get all this idea. So that also will come to know. But make sure two things very important: source code is free, and free equal to freedom, not free equal to free of cost. Like India is a free country, right? We call India is a free country, but that doesn't mean free. That comes to freedom, right? It doesn't come in India is a free country. That means we'll got everything free of cost. Not possible. We are not getting anything free of cost. So that free means it is a freedom of certain things with certain level, right? Freedom of choice, freedom of your thoughts, and a lot of other things. So that is, in that sense, it is a free. Your choice is free. You can anytime leave that, whatever, you can experiment with the software. You can, if you don't like. So my entry and exit is very easy. because I incur very less cost for the procurement or services compared to proprietary software. So that's why it's called freedom, not as a free of cost. Okay, let's come back to again. So open source licenses. As I told you, open source is not just in a fluke somebody started and people have adopted. It's not like this. So open source software license are copyleft license. So we have mostly copyright license, right? This you cannot use. These are the restrictions. These are the restrictions. Copyleft license. So it's a copyleft license. So everybody can, open to copy. Now there is very good question probably comes into our mind. When it is open source, what is a use for license actually? Anybody can have any response, any idea like why a license is required in case of open source? Though some one point is indicating to that probably response, but still if you can understand, probably let me have that response. Why why open source required a license? I'll wait for 15 seconds if some response. So that no misuse can happen. Authentication of software. Authentication, I don't understand, very sorry, but authentication, probably I'm meaning like somebody has that authenticity of the software can be established. Could be one of the good, probably response, so that no misuse can happen. Misuse, use or misuse, that is decided by the customer. So if somebody wanted to misuse, it's okay, no problem. So we don't have control onto that. Because we can use it but can't provide service and use to sell to others. No, that is wrong. That's why we wanted to understand. You can sell that product, you can reuse that product, you can share that product, and you can charge also, no worries. That depends on the license version what you are using. So that's why I written version 1, 2, and 3. Fine, but I got good response, and few response are quite good. So let's try to understand. So first you understand, like, open source license says this is the copy left license. So we don't have copyright. So that is the first thing. So it's allow you to copy. Freedom, it says freedom to access the source. So whenever any product released under the license is called general public license, GPL version. So that is called general public license, which is called open source license. And there are other variant also available. Apache license, Apache modified license. So all other licenses are GPLG license or something. So there are other variant also, but primarily there are version 1, version 2, version 3. So version 1 was very liberal. It was structured first whenever like open source release. That version 1 under version 1. So it will allow like, everybody to do whatever they want, no worries, without any problem. Version 2 was slightly restrictive in terms of you have to give credit to the who has written the code, who has contributed the code. Credits, remember, credits means you have to mention that name. Suppose Firefox, you build some product based on the Firefox. So you have to give credits in your documentation or somewhere you have to write. Okay, I have built this on the Firefox and thanks you Firefox so and so person. So it's organization because it is open source. If you don't do this, that means you are violation of the open source license. Third is very restrictive. Third says license, if you release your software or source code under general public license version 3, then it is very restrictive. If you use any open source code, your final product also used to be a open source. So you can't keep it as a proprietary. But in second version, it say if you produce any product based on the version number 2, it can be proprietary, but you have to just give the credits, right? So 3 is more restrictive. It happens like this. License version 3 has been introduced at the time of the deal has been signed between Microsoft and SUSE, typically SUSE Linux. So everybody afraid like Microsoft might, get some advantage on Linux. So that's why the version number 3 were introduced. But nowadays, like even Microsoft is contributing to the open source, and you might be wonder, Microsoft is number one company who is contributing as of now in open source. If you consider overall, product and other things. So that is, now all rivals are together and they are supporting open source, because everybody understand open source is a key in today's world. Yeah, so one answer remains one question not answered. That is why required open source. So open source license, generally copyright license, help industries or those who as creators, they protect their rights, their IPs, while open source license say user rights. So if you are using any license under open source version 1, 2, and 3, that means user have all rights to use that as a source code. They can use that source code. They will get a source code. They can use this as a open source. Company cannot deny at any time. So if they use open source license, it is a protection of the customer. So tomorrow company can claim, no, now my product is not open source. It is never going to happen. Or it happens, then also this license protect you. It may happen company one product and second version might not be open source, but whatever the version they release in open source is always going to be open source. They cannot claim any money or anything for the source code as far as concerned the listed norms in open source license. So that is to protect the user and user. The license is created not to the protect to the company, but to protect to the customer or to the end users. So that is a difference. I hope you got the answer. These are the two very important names, Richard Stallman and Linus Torvald. So Richard Stallman is considered as a father of open source. In 1986, he conceptualized open source, and he is still there. And he also introduce or contribute for the open source licensing, drafting and other things. He's still contributing that. And one of the most important open source as Bootstrap is basically Linux. So Linux is innovated or probably started or given by Linus Torvald as a founder. He is a founder of Linux, and from there, like before Linux also there were a lot of open source software available, but Linux has become a milestone for that. And after that Linux introduction, a lot of people have started a lot of other thoughts comes and people have contributed in a lot of other way to the open source, but these two are the milestone: Richard Stallman and Linus Torvald. These are some open source foundations. So Apache is one of the most important open source foundations. They are known for their, like Apache Tomcat, a lot of other things, Hadoop, HDFS, a lot of things, almost more than 100 or maybe 100 or softwares Apache Foundation have adopted. MariaDB, OpenOffice, all this part of open Apache software foundations. So Apache Foundation is very well known for open source software. They have their own version of open source license, but Apache is one of the most important. The Linux Foundation has also created to support this kind of a moment, and Linus Torvald work, or rather say he's employed by, or rather say he's there for Linux Foundation. And the fork of Linux Foundation, people started like Linux, when they started Linux Foundation, it was very important, but now they started Cloud Native Computing Foundation, shortly known as CNCF. So a lot of hype has been there for Cloud Native Computing Foundation. I can, share it very quickly. I'll share, like, this is CNCF Foundation. You can see contributor 1 to 5K, and contribution is this much million. Line of code is this, and you can see a lot of things. You can be a member, projects. These are the CNCF project. One of the most important is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is graduated on CNCF Foundation, CNI, all these Kubernetes, basically plugins and other things also. You can say Fluentd, a lot of other things, right? And almost all companies, community certification project. Let me see, members, technical governing body. Let's try members. Yeah, so now you can see all top companies probably. Alibaba, AWS, Apple, ARM, AT&T, Cisco, Fujitsu, Intel, all this. You can see first all top companies are part of contributing to CNCF. So CNCF becomes very important nowadays, very, very important. So you can see these are the contributor actually to CNCF. Everybody almost, you can see that, right? All top. And then these are the second tier gold partners. And then there are a lot of companies. So probably to name the company, they might be there in CNCF Foundation, right? So almost all companies are like helping this CNCF Foundation. So this is one of the most important foundation nowadays. You can like go to the CNCF Foundation and check it out. What are the new products, new technologies are coming, and they adapt, they evaluate, and they start to graduate, like graduate in terms of product is ready for use. So CNCF is one of the most important foundation nowadays. You have to always check it out, what is most important. So Apache and CNCF both are right now good. The next foundation probably given everything to CNCF. Open source. So I told you like video. Let me try. We have less time, so I'm not playing that video. But later stage, I'll share that video with you because it's around 7 minutes. Like how open source model probably Linux is was working, how it was invented, and how based on that probably you can understand the open source model. But I'm not playing as of now. Why open source? Why should you use open source? So this is one simple kind of a comparison: open source and proprietary. Licensing cost, there is no license cost most of the time. Again, I'm telling you, always, not always, but most of the time licensing cost will not be there. There could be sometimes licensing cost or maybe maintenance and support cost. So here most of the time you are not going to pay licensing cost. You're going to pay support cost, implementation, maintenance. Mostly a support cost can come all together, and that's why like it comparatively it is cheap, or TCO will be much more. So why we use it, right? So we can modify the source code. They need to supply the source code. Free most of the cases. It is secure. Again, it is debatable why it is secure. So we'll try. If time permit, we'll see why it is more secure. Open source products are more secure. Since we are depending on implementation, we are paying only for implementation, maintenance, and support. There is no licensing we stuck. So anytime we can leave that, because we don't have any responsibility or maybe liability for the licenses. Anytime we can leave that. If technology does not work, we can leave that and start other technology. If you have bought any licenses, then probably you have to justify, like say 10 lakhs rupees license you bought. Now you can't live within until unless you justify I have to use for 3 or 5 years. If you feel also like this is not working, then also you have to stick with that, right? So that is a problem. But in open source, you can very quickly change the technology because your cost of procurement or cost of licensing is zero, almost zero, right? And you have a lot of community support. So a lot of community has been built in for that. Most of the time communities are very active. Probably Ubuntu community or Android community. These are very important. And third is to motivate all innovations or persons, those who wanted to contribute. So motivation is also one of the factor. Probably we consider as a social responsibility, we motivate other people. So this is probably you should go for the open source, which are fair enough reason. There are other also, but these are the fair enough reason. This is as of now dominance of open source. Probably you can see Android is 72%. Android is open source, and Android uses basically cut down version or small version of Linux kernel. It is Android is a Linux, but on the top of Linux kernel, they have created a lot of things, modify a lot of things on the Java or the platform. So Android is basically core part is a Linux, kernel is a Linux. So it's dominating 72.2% on mobile devices. Probably you can see it is one of the most important. That is one of the reason open source is growing, or you should learn open source, you should understand open source. So now dominance of open source server operating system. You can see it is already 2018 actually. If you feel 2020, I don't have that slide. 2020 or 21, that might be slightly more increase, because in 2020 it has from raised from 70 to 72%. This is server operating system, worldwide server operating system, a non-paid deployment share by operating system. So you can see almost 70% of server operating system worldwide, Linux is dominating that, right? So that is what probably open source power. If you consider either mobile or desktop, it is slightly lacking, but yes, server it is there. But most of the time you'll get job for the server to maintain the server, not for the desktop. There are some jobs for desktop maintenance also, but not like most of the time you come across to build a server, and people will secure the server first, then probably it comes to the desktop, because nowadays everything is on web base. So server security or those solution security does matter a lot. I don't deny the desktop securities are not at all required, but yes, it is there, but server is most important. Backup planning, business continuity, DR, and a lot of things. This is one more reason probably. If you are a student and if you go to if you go to industry, probably there are more chances you will have Linux platform there, right? This is one of the most important slide. I love this because when we started supercomputing, Linux as a practices, almost that 100% was approximately 34%. Then year by year it was grow, and probably in 2015-16 it has reached up to 100%. So I hope everybody know what is supercomputer. So supercomputer is basically we compare, everybody know who is Superman, right? Very popular superhero. So Superman is what we consider as a Superman. He is a multiple times power than normal man. Maybe 100, 1,000 time or 10,000 time. He's very powerful. So exactly supercomputer is like that. It is depends on the configuration part. Supercomputers are 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times powerful computers than the normal computers. If you wanted to see, you can check it out. I have taken it from Super 500 computers. They maintain actually they maintain this site for top 500 supercomputer across the world, right? So if you wanted to see the capacity, yeah, probably we can try to check it out. Yeah, you can see this. In normal your workstation or laptop, we have 4 core, 8 core. In server, we might go for maybe some more cores, but you can see how many cores are there. 72 lakhs, right? 72 lakhs, 99,000 cores. So that are the CPUs are there into that, and you can see it is growing, right? either 72,000 to 76,000. So sorry, 76 lakhs. You can see how many cores are there. So what happen is all good commodity servers, those who have a 500 core or maybe 200 core or 100 core, that will be created as in a data center. They will be network and they will create as a single system. It will work as a single system. You cannot actually. You might have learned that uh, parallel processing. So that is ideally for this supercomputer. So this is a supercomputer capacity. Probably you can see how much more it is, right? Huge one, right? So you can also visit that, and I have created from the statistic list statistics vendors. Probably we can say operating system family, and I'll say submit. So that is 100%. Probably we'll try. Let's say how far we can go. 15. You can see in 2015 also it started. So there is nowhere proprietary software. Only Unix is there. Though Windows is not at all there in this segment. Never. Supercomputer required everything top, high reliable, very high computational power, very good, security. Whatever you thought we required, very, top notch. So that it is dominated by, Linux. And if you wanted to see any supercomputer, probably you can visit three organization in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, PRL, IPR, and ISRO. They do have this supercomputer. I think highest supercomputer speed will be measured in teraflops, and these are the highest supercomputers. So they may measure in petaflops. So in Gujarat we have 100 teraflops highest in PRL and IPR. PRL allow you to visit in science days or some specialized visit from your college. You can actually go there and find it out how they build, what they build. But now the introduction of the cloud, you can have a on-demand supercomputer also based on the open source technology. So open source technologies. What are the different open source technologies available, right? So almost you can say in any field, technologies, open source technologies, tools or softwares are available. Mobile, we have Android, development platform. Some of the things, some of the languages I have written. Maybe there could be more. Java, Python, Node, Go, PHP. Even you might be surprised nowadays. Microsoft has opened that .NET platform, so they release as a .NET Core. Actually, .NET Core is open. The release was open source version on Linux and Windows. Everywhere it will work. So you can see Microsoft is contributing now. Even proprietary players have understand uh, the importance of open source, and probably as I consider, like, open source is a driving force today's innovation. Because of open source, everybody have access to latest technology without much of the cost, and they can experiment actually. So that technology can reach everywhere, anywhere without much of cost, and people can experiment. So that's why then once there are more experiment, probably more innovation happens, and more speed of innovation comes because of the low cost, and everybody have a chance, or maybe everybody has a rights to experiment or right to access. So that's why more pace of innovation today is due to open source innovation and open source technologies. So even database, you have MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. These are the popular databases in nowadays. MySQL and PostgreSQL are relational databases, while MongoDB is non-relational databases. So all are very, very popular, but you can download and free of cost you can use. It's robust, very, very robust. MySQL is very, very popular nowadays. Most of the time I have seen most of the projects people create, they use as a your college curriculum or somewhere you submit it as they are submitted as a MySQL based on MySQL most of the time. I don't say always, but most of the time. Postgres is equivalent to like a higher kind of a database if you want to compare Oracle or maybe something else. Then PostgreSQL is considered to be one of the most important database for banking kind of operation and other things. A lot of banks use this Postgres now. MongoDB is non-relational nowadays. Not nowadays, but last around few years. Non-relational database have become very popular. Reason being ample of space available for the storage. Initial state, like we do normalization of the MySQL or PostgreSQL, while MongoDB or non-relational database is slightly denormalization. Don't do that, denormalization. You can use as much as space you want, but my query has to be very fast. While in normalization, we try to utilize those, query to be less, and duplication should not be happen. This is one of the rule for normalization. While in MongoDB, no restriction. You do whatever you want. My query has to be fast. Duplicate whatever the information you want. So one of the principle, I don't say that is the only principle. One of the principle for non-relational database. Then we have big data or data warehouse, or nowadays it has become data lake actually. So big data database, then it comes data warehouse system, and then big data, and then probably what we call is data lake. So a lot of things are open source. The open source as open source platform available today, and you can use big data platform is started introduction from Apache. It has open source HDFS file system, Hadoop file system, distributed file system HDFS. So that is one of the most important thing. Containers, and today's world, like Kubernetes and containers. So containers has changed the world actually, the way it works. And if you wanted to invest your time today to learn something, learn containers. And container are primary foundational from Linux actually. They started from some of the Linux technologies, or basically they started on Linux only because of the kernel properties and some of the security feature. And then probably lately it will be introduced on Windows. Still I have not see much the implementation on Windows. Most of the implementation will be on Linux container only. But containers have changed the world, like virtual machine has changed. So initially we have a hardware, then we have virtual machine, and then now a container. Because container footprint is very small, sometimes like probably we might have discussion of container itself. We have conducted a lot of hands-on workshop on containers. It is in demand, so students need to understand how it can be and how it works, what is the importance, how developer it can be benefited to developer, to the system administrator, whatever way. So containers, and on the top of containers we have a Kubernetes. So Kubernetes actually orchestrate containers. So Kubernetes is management part of the container, and that's why Kubernetes is very famous. And the main part of a Kubernetes is either it can be public cloud, it can be private cloud, or it can be only a one computer or many computers. Kubernetes works as it is. You don't require to change anything. So hybrid computing, public cloud, private cloud, or no cloud, it works as it is. So that is one of the most important part for the container and Kubernetes. Many of you know Alexa. So Alexa is also become open source now. So you can port Alexa code into many other small devices, or you can consider there are some projects. So you can build your own Alexa also based on the Raspberry Pi or some Arduino or some other board actually. So whatever board you want, you can create Alexa, or maybe you can use your own computer to testing out. So Alexa is open source nowadays. So if you wanted to experiment with voice, something on voice, Alexa will be there. It is open source. Cloud computing, if you wanted to experiment, one of the most important flagship offering is OpenStack. OpenStack is very well known as open source platform cloud computing, and a lot of people have contributed almost like you have seen CFCM Foundation. Similarly, OpenStack Foundation is also there. And if you wanted to build cloud on premises, you have that open source alternative available, like AWS or Google or maybe Azure. You can create those kind of a cloud in your premises, almost similar way, and it is open source without any fees. Actually, you can create, you can experiment. Yes, hardware sizing are required, some of the things required, but yes, OpenStack is one of the cloud computing, very important cloud computing there. And there are many more. Probably you also know, like so a lot of software like Chrome, Firefox, and a lot of other technologies are there, which help us to uh, for open source. So you don't have any alternative to learn the open source. Or if you even don't know, then also you are learning open source. As a student, probably some of the role play you are doing, whenever you go to the industry, probably you can be a system administrator, you can be a network administrator. You have to learn like virtual virtual networking. Open vSwitch, popularly used, is also open source. It is used by many of the platform across the cloud or on premises also. A lot of people are using this open vSwitch virtual switching. If you like wanted to experiment, you can download that and you can experiment those part, how virtual switching and virtual networking works. System admin is one of the part. Basically, the role of the system admin is to maintain either desktop or servers, whatever our system overall, as keep properly, and it has to be running. Some monitoring part, some maintenance part, everything comes into system admin. All kind of developer, because if you understand like some of the things very well as a part of a system, some system calls are required, API calls are required. So for all developers, whether you wanted to uh, be a good developer on Java or even .NET somewhere, whatever. So for development purpose also, like all developers should know how to handle the operating system, or unknowingly also, probably if you are a Python developer, if you are interested Python developer, you are using actually open source tools that people have contributed, right? And a database admin. So if you wanted to go for database admin also, then there are a lot of other offerings available, non-relational, relational database. So a popular MySQL is there. So fundamental understanding of database is very important. A data scientist, uh, database admin, I'll just like to add, Wikipedia is 100% on MySQL actually. So huge database, around probably my previous information were around 340 servers for the database in cluster they are running. Huge databases. Data scientists, if you wanted to analyze something, you require analyze something, then probably ETL pipeline with the help of big data. So you required collect the data, pre-process the data, and finally process the data so available. So we call it ETL pipeline. So for data scientists, final outcome you required. So also like and nowadays it is very important. Genome sequencing, everybody know corona, and you might have heard that word, genome sequencing. So DNA sequencing nowadays, because of cloud and this open source in nature, they could found this very easily, or they can do that very fast, as all supercomputers are running on Linux. So the genome sequential analysis, they can do it very fast and can be produced with certain days. So for all kind of data scientists, it is very important nowadays. They are using open source technologies. Security professional, it's very well known. Like most of the nowadays, security appliances are on Linux, Checkpoint or other thing, either Linux or Linux variant. So very important part. Security professional. Kali Linux is very, very, very famous for hacking actually. So if you wanted to be ethical hacker, Kali Linux you have to learn. So to learn Kali Linux, probably you have to learn Linux, and you can understand a lot of things fundamentally about Linux. Mobile developer, you already seen, like Android is on Linux platform, open source things. So you have to learn a mobile developer, whether front end, back end, database or whatever you want, right? Storage admin. Storage admin, we have a lot of open source storage system available. Storage, it does not means like uh, only hard disk. It can be a hard disk, it can be file sharing, or it can be like Google Drive storage, object storage. So a lot of object storage or file sharing system or peering sharing system available with open source. So you can check it out. Probably everybody know torrent, BitTorrent. So where all user will contribute that bandwidth. Similarly, people have created IP storage. So if you contribute your hard disk, some of the part you have to say, okay, wanted to contribute to cloud 10% of my hard disk. So your computer will be using as a hard disk. So IP-based storage, you can connect with the storage IP base. So that is also a new innovation happens. Still, it is not much in use, but yes, it is there. Serverless architecture. So that is nowadays very popular because of Kubernetes and evolution of the cloud. Lambda functions, Lambda on AWS, function on Azure and Google. So because it's primarily using in backend like containers, and containers are using primarily Linux. So that's why it's very important to understand overall open source technologies. Microservices, once evolution of containers and serverless microservices are become very important. I'll show you microservices architecture. You might see something like let's see, AWS and Twitter, probably Netflix. So these are the kind of microservices architecture. You cannot make out what it is. Here also this is for Netflix and this is for Amazon.com. So this is you can see huge microservices architecture, and these are the even too difficult to plot even, right? But they are running these microservices, thousands of microservices on Amazon and thousands of microservices on Netflix. So that's why pace of innovation is very fast. So that is demand of today. If you want, you can also learn microservices for yourself, or maybe try to understand what is it. Might be you are not going this. This is something like if you logically compare it, it is it is similar to kind of a Jarvis, basically what we have seen with Iron Man sort of things. So presentation is something like this. You can see lot of things, right? Let's come back to this. So for solution architect also, there are a lot of technology there. 70% market share of the server. So probably you need to understand both of the things. DevOps technology nowadays very, very famous. So in DevOps technology, a lot of demand of DevOps. So in DevOps also probably Jenkins is one of the key component. Jenkins and Git, both are very, very foundational part of open source. Git is also contributed or founded by Linus Torvald, and Jenkins is also one of the most important famous open source tools for code pipeline or maybe DevOps. So you can see for DevOps part also, it is very important. The foundation things or innovation happens through open source only. Now probably I don't see uh, large organization are not using at all a variant of Git. GitHub is one of the most popular things, but that has come out from Git. Git is open source source code management tools software. It's very simple but good story behind that. One day, for Linux kernel, Linus Torvald and other people were managing their source code on some bazaar or some product. At that time, it was open source. and he got a mail that next version will not going to be open source. So you have to stick to this version. Will not get any update on this. So Linus Torvald thought like, this is not good. So he started working on that, and within 14 days, he has introduced first foundation of Git, and people started Linux kernel will be moved on that Git, and people have seen across the world Git is working like anything, like kind of a robustness of Linux, and it is working very well. So people started using Git. So most of the project now source code management is on Git or variant of the Git. I don't say only Git, but all variant of the Git. Last is IoT. So if you wanted to be like an IoT specialist, if you remember, like IoT have multiple part actually. Home automation, then you have a hobby, then you have industrial IoT. So everywhere probably lot of open source tools available, and you can utilize that. I remember like when I wanted to test some IoT part of thing, I started on the Raspberry Pi because I know Linux very well. At that time, only Raspberry Pi was the Raspberry Pi supported only Linux, and we experimented a lot of things. I have given some projects also to the student for IoT, home IoT automation. I think almost 3 or 4 years back. Automatic door locking opening, automatic drive actually, what we can say, smaller robo car sort of thing without any, in the sense machine learning kind of a car. So those part students has experimented and they are working. Everybody knows Segway, right? Segway is a first scooter, self-balanced scooter people have introduced, like introduced in market. So we have given that project also to some of the students just to create a platform. So if you put some weight on one side, it will automatically balance itself. So those students has created those part based on all open source technologies, and it was working model. I think more than 3 or 4 years back. So we have like good understanding and about open source. That's what I shared with today with you, and most of the things probably or partly but one open question. So we have only 5 minutes. So one open question probably, that is why open source seems considered to be very secure. Is there any logical technical reason? Okay, we have two questions. First, let us take it, then come back to this. Is free software different from open source software? And can I call my program an open source program with approving open source license? So basically what happened is free software is not actually open source software. Free softwares, people don't want to give source code and still it can be free, like zip or unzip or something, or maybe some other things. So you can actually, that software are freely available, but you cannot actually modify their source code. Source code is not available. So that is not considered as open source. The only problem with free source and open, or rather say difference between free source and open source is open source you will get source code. Free software you use as it is. You can't actually modify. You don't have code with that, source code with that. So that is the difference. If you wanted to release your whatever your tools or software or solutions under open source, you have to attach that general public license. You have to first go through that, read that general public license, whatever version 1, 2, or 3, mostly 2. 2 is better. Initially, if you don't know much about it, attach it to your software. Once you attach, remember that you have to provide source code with your software. Somebody can ask you to provide software, you have to do that because you attach you have released your software under open source. So remember that if somebody asks you to provide, you have to, right? So I remember like some of the software, Verizona has used that software which is general public version General Public License version 3, and it is very strict license. So somebody has filed a case against Verizon in US, and they have to actually provide that license. Actually, they have to again open source their code. Version 2 is not very strict. So you have to be very sure what you are doing. You have to consult somebody in open source, or first point of contact. Probably you can connect me if you wanted to do something. I can channelize it for you somewhere, right? Is there any kind of risk to use open source software without license? So you can't use actually without license. License is a part of open source package. So you have to download it, and then it will be part of that package. Otherwise, it is not considered as open source, right? So you have to read the license, and remember that open source license does not mean that free of cost. Okay, so make sure like you can't ask why you are released under open source and why you are charging. Example is Red Hat and SUSE. Red Hat is chargeable. SUSE is also chargeable. You can't use without license. Okay, so because it is a binary product, so their source code is free. It is available on GitHub. So if you want, you can build your own binary. You remove all the proprietary stuff from the Red Hat, and you build Linux yourself, and you can use it. That's why Red Hat popular open source version is CentOS. So CentOS do that only. They download like everything which is shared by Red Hat on GitHub. They build completes. They remove first all the legal proprietary part of Red Hat logos and other things. They replace their open source, that logo with their open source content, and they compile it and they release as a CentOS. So since even though Red Hat cannot do anything, reason being CentOS is they are building their steps and they're removing that license content, because the logo of Red Hat is proprietary. It is not open source, so they cannot use it without the permission. Or some of the things which is Red Hat proprietary, they have to remove it. So that's why open source software without license probably does not seems to be meaning. Reason being it has to be with software. But don't expect all open source software are free. Okay, so you have to check it out. Only thing, the source code is available for all open source software. That is the only key. Difference between Git and GitHub. Git is open source platform, basically a tool, and GitHub is a cloud based option. So you don't require, otherwise what you need to do is you need to download a server, install GitHub on your workstation or server, and then you utilize that those parts. GitHub is basically kind of an available platform directly. You don't require any hardware or things to install anything. It is ready. Just create an account and start yourself. So that is GitHub is built on Git technologies, but they provide platform as a services, as a GitHub as a Git as a services. So Git is not equal to GitHub, but GitHub is is built on Git services or Git source. So Git can be installed anywhere. GitHub cannot be. It is only available as a services on cloud. What are the benefits of contributing to open source? That is a very challenging question and debatable question also. What are the benefits of contributing to open source? First, you should be enough patient towards some of the technology. Example, like if you are fond of cricket, probably at 2 o'clock summer, very hot, you are playing cricket, and probably somebody is not liking cricket, he will laugh at you. These people are playing cricket at 2 o'clock in day, because so hot, and probably it is very exhaustive things. But then you are enjoying, right? That's why you are playing. You and your friend are enjoying. So that the same thing. First motive. First, you have to understand your passion. If you are passionate to contribute to share towards that technology, then and then you have to contribute to open source. Not just for sake of testing like what is happening in open source. First, you has to be passionate about open source. Second, the benefit comes once you contribute a lot of things on open source, you will be recognized. Your name will be there. Once your name will be there, people will connect you. They also want you to do something similar things, or maybe some more innovative things, or something else also, because you prove your ability, you prove your skills in open source. So you might get some more projects based on that, the level you reach to the open source. So that is one of the most benefit. One is known, in the sense you are going to be known, your name will be there. And second will be, based on that, people might be connect to you for further development. So that is what benefit you are getting: more business and more fate, actually, right? Fame. Okay. So these are some benefit of contribution to open source. So I think I've done. Any other question, probably let me know. I'll wait for 15 seconds, and if no more questions, probably we can conclude this.
Students, if you are having any question related to the session, please post it here in the chat box.
I think maybe no more questions, but there could people have asked and responded. So thank you for one. Instagram is open source or not? Then why they put ads? So I'll put it this way. YouTube is open source or not? So probably Instagram is open source or not is not a question, because it is a service, right? Service, Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, or maybe something which is on cloud, right? It is a service to share and something. There is no code. So Twitter. So what this bigger player has done, uh, they use Netflix also. So Netflix is a platform, right? So you cannot consider it is a software, it is an offering basically. So that depends on them what to do, what to not. Facebook or Google or whatever. But that underlying technology can be open source. So example, like Facebook have many tools they done open source because they are using PHP. Netflix have a lot of tools, they come out as a open source, but it is not a platform, that tools. So they have to download, they have to experiment with those tools, right? So Instagram offer you, once you log into Instagram, they ask you the user license agreement. So if you are agreed, then sign up, otherwise don't sign up. So it is a platform basically. So it is not development platform, it is a service as a platform we are using. It's offerings. So it does not fit into the open source category, right? You can't say Google is open source or not, right? Google is a company, and Google search engine is a platform for searching. So you cannot say Google search engine is open source or not. But if Google want, it can be, their source code can be open. So you can create Google search engine at any place. So the question, probably we can say, underlying Instagram technologies are open source or not. That way, WhatsApp is not open source, right? Because they don't provide code at all. But still, there are no ads. So there are some, but they are offering actually service. They are the software and tools. Applications, basic applications are very, if they don't want to keep as open source, that's fine. So we can't do anything for that. But if they release under open source, the technology will be released under open source, they have to provide the code. So source code. So Instagram is a service, can never be as open source. So these kind of videos and images are open source version is called Creative Commons license, Creative Commons. So that depends on the who has created, how they created, what they want. So before creating account, probably you have to find it out what is their conditions. If they write open source, then also you cannot actually uh, ask. You cannot say why you are putting ads, because it's a service, right? And you agree for whatever they are doing. Open source means you have freedom to choose. So if you don't choose, you've chosen Instagram as a choice, Facebook as a choice, Google as a choice. So if you don't like, don't use it. So that's called choice, right? But if you feel like Instagram, you want Instagram source code, you check it out. You check it out, and if they are in open source, I don't think Instagram at all open source. They don't see anything. So probably no, they are their technologies are not at all open source. For hacking, we using Linux or not? So hacking is basically concept. Actually, you can use any tool, but Linux, Kali Linux is very famous for as a hacking tool. So I believe like Linux is most helpful in for ethical hacking. I have seen like most of the ethical hackers or security professionals use Linux for penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, and penetration testing. So probably yes, Linux is a good tool for Kali Linux. Which things I already answered that. Which things we should keep in mind while contributing to open source? Okay, I'll slightly briefly gives that answer very quickly. Which things? First of all, what is your liking? So check it out. What is like what you good into that, and find out what are the open source project running on the this technologies or this platform, and then try to first they will take it kind of a internship or kind of a learner part. Mentor will be assigned to you. They will give you some assignment. Once you do that probably properly, if you are contributing to huge project like Kubernetes or OpenStack or GitHub or something, Git, or it's not GitHub but Git or something, then the mentor will tell to give you some assignment. Once you do that correct fulfill, probably they will give you some more assignment, and then slowly you can be a part of a open source contributor, and then you can be a mentor also. There are a lot of people in Ahmedabad also. They are already contributor to some of the projects, some of the good protocols also. So they can be mentor to you. So try to find out first. You have to observe like what is happening to that project. Once you try check it out, I'm interested in this project, why I wanted to contribute. Then check it out what is happening to this this project, in which part you are more interested. Then observe that, try to find out some mentor, contact some mentor, and try to check it out. So that is the way you need to find it out, and don't expect any remuneration from that. They don't provide any remuneration. So you are working as a hobby. If you are enjoying, then and then probably you can continue it. Otherwise, you might contribute something and then you leave it, because there are no money involved into that. There could be money involved in other part for support, for service, and maybe some once you get good recognition, you can get a good other kind of a work also with the help of your open source contribution. Like just for example, Linus Torvald was working with some company. Richard Stallman is not working with any company, but he is a consultant for many, contributor and consultant for many companies. As he's a both are very good, C programmer. So they are getting a lot of consulting assignment, development assignment. So they do that. Today also they are doing. So I hope all questions are responded very well, and I believe like I have given good justice to this, and since this is online, some of the things are slight missing. I wanted to share some video. Initially, there could be some glitch for connecting purpose. I am very sorry for that. But finally it connected and we could communicate. So thank you very much for all students, faculties, and specifically HB Patel sir. He is a friend of me and probably good friend of me, and we know each other since long. And probably yearly at least 1 or 2 seminar or workshop we are. They call me for the workshop or seminar. Last around probably 8 to 7 years. We have delivered a few seminars to his old college also and this college also. So if you have any question or some other things, if you want my help or any part, I'm expert in 2 domain. One is open source and second is AWS cloud computing. So if you have any question after this also, you can reach to your faculty. They will send me all the questions and I'll connect to you then. And again, thank you for all those who has managed and managing this webinar and this huge kind of a talk online session. That could be a lot of difficulty, but we have to work out with all difficulty. Something new will happen, and we'll be finding something new. So thank you all. Thanks a lot for inviting me and allow me to share my view. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a wonderful session. We learned a lot of concepts about open source, CNCF services, then security perspective, SOS, supercomputers, applications, microservice architecture, and many more. I'm sure that it has made our students to pick up valuable practical tips, and it is definitely going to help them to perform better in their careers. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Okay, thank you. Bye all, and take care yourself.
Thank you, sir.